Hey everyone, it's Dave. I hope you're having a good day. Today I thought I would do a video. I'd touch upon a topic that I've not really discussed in any of my videos so far, which is Brexit. So before I start, the other big news of the day is, as you can see, I've had a haircut. What do you think? Looking a bit better, looking a bit younger maybe, a bit more tidy. Anyway, before I start discussing what I'm going to discuss, if you like my content, please do subscribe, and if you could leave a comment on this video or any other videos, I would massively appreciate it. And anything you want to say, as you know, my ethos here is about ideas, exchanges of ideas, and having conversation. I don't really mind what your view is, as long as it's something that's going to contribute to the overall conversation. So please do that, and it'll also help give this channel a boost. So that'd be great. All right then, so let's start talking about Brexit. And I try not to talk too much about politics on this channel. It is, obviously, it's important, politics, but I think one of the signs of our times really is a lot of people are highly politicized. And I believe that people's attachments to politics and political figures or political institutions is born really out of a sense of wanting to belong to something, to want to feel part of something, and is maybe emblematic of a deeper lack of meaning within society. Anyway, so there was certainly ideology present on both sides and continues to be on the Leave and the Remain side with regard to the UK's vote to leave the European Union, but particularly on the Remain side, which, let's not forget, Remain lost. I think the EU has become something close almost to a cult, almost like a religious sect for many people that are still, even now, refuse to accept the fact that the UK people voted to leave the European Union. So I think it's important so I'm coming at this from a completely authentic place. I did vote to leave the European Union. I was very torn because I could see the benefits that the European Union offered to the UK and to the people of the UK and to the people who choose to come and live in the UK. And I could definitely see the benefits in leaving as well. And it was to some degree with a heavy heart that I decided to cast my vote to leave. Because one thing that I do strongly believe in is freedom of movement from other European citizens around the European Union. I don't believe in freedom of movement from other parts of the world that are culturally very, very different to most European cultures. So that was one main reason why I regrettably voted to leave, but I could see the opportunities. And on balance, I decided to cast my vote for leave because I do believe in sovereignty above anything else, and I do believe in the nation state. So for me, it was a glorious day on the 23rd of June 2016 when the UK said no to anti-democratic decision making, no to corporate and capitalist globalism, and no to a protectionist racket, and yes to returning to being a truly sovereign country with full control and autonomy over our laws and economy and an open, outward-looking global trading nation. That was what most people who voted for Brexit, I believe, they voted because they, without wanting to use any cliches, they believe in the traditional spirit of British independence and sovereignty. And they believe in Britain's history as a global and leading trading partner with countries from all around the world, not just in the European Union. But I think most of all, I think people could see how anti-democratic the EU was and is. And people don't like that because most people respect democracy. I'm going to talk a little bit more about democracy later in this video. So, you may disagree with everything that I've just said there, and that's fine. And if you do disagree, please leave a comment, and I'm open to having a good conversation with you, and that's absolutely fine. But let's not forget that on that day, on the 23rd of June 2016, we did vote, whether people like it or not, to leave the European Union. And it's only taken 4.5 years to happen. We will leave, deal or no deal. I believe that we will strike a deal at the last minute. And this is all just a charade that's going on at the moment. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute as well. Now, as you know, I am passionate about three things: free speech, freedom, and democracy. And all are under threat. And I think with this in mind, it's very important that we consider how close we came to democracy not being served with regard to Brexit. Let's look at the timeline, because this is really, really important. Regardless of whether people think it's a stupid idea, regardless of whether people think that anyone who voted for Brexit was a racist, xenophobe pig, regardless of whether you think it's an act of national self-sabotage, regardless of any of that, it was a vote that a record number of people participated in, and a record number of people voted to say we want to leave. So regardless of any of that, democracy must be served. In 2015, David Cameron and his Conservative Party put in their manifesto that if they won a majority, they would hold a referendum on the UK membership of the European Union. Lo and behold, they won a majority of about 12. 80% of MPs then agreed to vote to hold the referendum. The referendum was held on the 23rd of June 2016, and Leave, as we know, won 52% to 48%. Yes, a narrow margin, but a win nonetheless. 80% of MPs agreed to trigger Article 50, which effectively triggered the process for the UK's departure from the European Union. There was then another election in 2017, at which the two main parties, the Conservative Party and Labour, both campaigned on a manifesto to leave the European Union and garnered around 80% of the vote. Granted, Labour changed its position after that, although no one really knew what its position was. And finally, in 2019, yet another election, the third election in 4 years, which was an election more or less exclusively about Brexit, which delivered a Conservative majority of 80. And the Conservatives only got a majority of 80, I believe, because they took the stance that they needed to take on Brexit. And a lot of people, particularly in the North, who voted Conservatives for the first time, voted solely on that one reason, because they had to see democracy being served. So look at all those steps there where the British people said, no, we've not changed our mind. No, we've not changed our mind. No, we've not changed our mind. We want to leave the European Union. So many times, yet Brexit has been sabotaged for the last 4.5 years by Parliament itself, by big business, by the European Union, by the courts, by the Bank of England, and even by large swathes of the public itself, most shockingly. 6.1 million people signed a petition to revoke Article 50 to cancel the UK's departure from the European Union, which is 13% of registered voters in the UK. 6.1 million people, 13% of registered voters said, my vote's more important than your vote. You've made the wrong decision. I'm going to stick two fingers up to democracy. We're going to have the vote again. Not 6.1 thousand people, 6.1 million people signed that petition. Now, that was the moment that I realised there was something seriously amiss and fundamentally wrong with our society in this country, that many people could be willing to say no to democracy. Brexit voters, including myself, were painted as racist, xenophobic, right-wing bigots. Misty-eyed for the glory days of the British Empire, and suspicious of anything foreign. Now, I know many Brexit voters from the left and from the right and from the centre. None of them are narrow-minded. None of them are racist. All of them love all things European, including myself. I also know a lot of Remain voters who quickly got over the result as well and were willing to accept that it was a democratic outcome, even though they didn't particularly like it, and got their heads around it pretty quickly. Here's the problem with ideology. Because people on both sides, but particularly on the Remain side, who became absolutely fanatical and continue to be, became so ideologically motivated that they couldn't strike a balanced tone, and they've become, a lot of them, warped and cultish. And I say a lot of them, not the majority of the people who voted Remain. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm talking yet again about the ideologues who, like I say, who don't really believe in free speech, who don't really believe in freedoms, and who don't really believe in the right for everyone to have an equal stake and an equal democratic say in society. I'm talking about those people. It is pure ideology, pure and simple. I personally, as I said at the start, saw both sides. I could also see how on the Leave side as well, that to a large degree was ideologically motivated as well. But as I keep coming back to, Leave won that vote. So democracy had to be served. That, when a democratic outcome is reached, is the moment that we should move on. So, finally, just to sum up, my view on Brexit is nobody knows whether it's going to be a success or not. No one's clever enough, no one's insightful enough, no one's able to predict the future. It may be, it may not be. Let's come back to that question in maybe 20 to 25 years and let history reflect on whether it's been a success or not. Do I think Brexit will be a success? Yes, I do. And I also think that the moment that everything changed and that the momentum shifted towards the UK in the negotiations was the moment when Boris Johnson got an 80-seat majority. That gave the UK the upper hand in the negotiations. And as I said before the vote, I thought that the UK would get an excellent deal. Or if it didn't get an excellent deal due to the intransigence of the EU, that it would prosper anyway in time, even if there was some short to medium-term financial and economic difficulties. Why did I think that? Well, simple. The UK, strategically, geographically, politically, diplomatically, culturally, economically and militarily, is one of the most powerful and influential countries in the world. And I'll tell you one other reason as well. It has nuclear capabilities. If you have nuclear capabilities as a country, whether you like it or not, again, you're going to be powerful and influential. So, yeah, I do believe it'll be a success. But I don't know it'll be a success. And I'm willing to listen to the arguments from people who think it's a stupid idea and it won't be a success. I'm sure that everyone's still got a view on this, haven't they? So anyway, what do you think? Do you agree or do you disagree? Do you think that ideology was involved in the conversation around Brexit before the vote, during the vote? And what do you think of the division since the vote? Do you think that we're divided as a country because of Brexit? And how about you yourself? Can you see both sides and the pros and cons to each? Okay, that is my video for today. I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.